Department of Health COVID-19 Treatment Czar Undersecretary Bong Vega has said on August 5th that the Philippine clinical management and treatment modalities for COVID-19 have greatly improved over time, decreasing the mortality rate from 5 to 1.6% lately.
Nagbibigay na kami ng lalo na pag itong mga moderate to severe, yung remdesivir. Kasi yung remdesivir naman kasi nakakatulong, meron ng mga parang results, mga preliminary results lumabas na talagang beneficial siya sa pag-turn around ng pasyente, especially kung nasa ICU siya or nasa isolation ward siya, mas madali siyang gumaling. Pangalawang treatment na nakikita namin na talagang nag-improve, makikita namin nag-improve talaga yung mga moderate to severe patients ay yung paggamit ng high flow oxygen.
However, Vega emphasized that prevention is still better than cure as the medications are a lot more expensive, costing thousands of pesos in comparisons to face masks, face shields, disinfectants, and physical distancing. Meanwhile, DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire announced on September 4th that it is set to meet representatives of U.S. drug maker Pfizer Incorporated and the Russian Embassy, as the country looks to secure a COVID-19 vaccine supply. Vergeire said that these shall not affect the Philippines' deals with other countries and would otherwise allow the country to cure a larger segment of the population. As of September 6th, the total number of COVID-19 cases in the country is 237,365, where more than 48,803 are still active. 3,875 have died and 184,687 have recovered. 5 days after the resignation of PhilHealth President Ricardo Morales in the midst of a corruption fiasco, President Rodrigo Duterte announced former National Bureau of Investigation or NBI Chief Dante Hiran as his replacement right after the Interagency Task Force or IATF core meeting. In the said assembly, Hiran revealed that he did not apply for the position and confessed that it was Senator Bongo and Attorney Boy Kitain who gave him the offer in an interview with CNN Philippines.
First, I did not apply for the position in chief. It was initially offered to me by Senator Bongo and Attorney Boy Kitain.
Hiran also added from the same interview that he is ready to reorganize the institution by eradicating any corruption from the past and restoring its confidence to the people. Meanwhile, the Senate Committee of the Whole has recommended filing of charges against Morales along with DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III and other high officials over allegations of fund misuse. It's a case of tug-of-war for American Marine Joseph Scott Pemberton, who was convicted of homicide for the 2014 killing of Filipino transgender woman Jennifer Laude, as Jennifer Laude's camp files motion for reconsideration against his early release. The Olongapo City Regional Trial Court's Branch 74 on September 1st had ruled that Pemberton should walk free earlier than his service of 10-year sentence after crediting to him 4 years' worth of good conduct time allowance or GCTA. However, Laude's camp has filed a motion for reconsideration, saying Pemberton is ineligible for GCTA benefits and that there's no proof that he exhibited exemplary behavior in prison.
There's no such specific agreement that would apply the GCTA. In fact, the court said there's no question here of equal protection of law. The Supreme Court already recognized that under the VFA, anyone who's convicted, any American personnel convicted under the VFA would be in a sui generis situation because he or she will be treated under a separate modality, and that is a treaty. So we're arguing that the GCTA should not have been applied to him for that reason.
Because
in the absence of a definite agreement that would cover him. And the court said here that we cannot raise the argument of equal protection because they said that to begin with, there is really no equal treatment given to someone who is convicted or who is being prosecuted under the VFA because it is treated in a separate manner.
On the other hand, Pemberton's camp urges the local court to junk the said appeal, which seeks to block his early release. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice asked the Bureau of Corrections to put the release on hold, with a pending court resolution on Laude's appeal. It also intends to file its own motion for reconsideration early next week, hoping that the Office of the Solicitor General will join the complaint. As of now, Pemberton remains in a facility in Camp Aguinaldo as appeals challenge the court's decision. In a 197-9-0 vote, House of Representatives approves the declaration of September 11th as non-working holiday to celebrate the birthday and honor the contributions of late President Ferdinand Marcos in Ilocos Norte. 3 Ilocano lawmakers authored the bill, including Marcos' nephew, Ilocos Norte's 2nd District Representative Angelo Marcos Barba, with Ilocos Norte 1st District Representative Ria Fariñas, and Provinciano Ako Representative Rudy Cesar Fariñas I. On the other hand, several groups and personalities condemned it, including former Commission on Human Rights chairperson and a victim during the Marcos regime, Eta Rosales, who said that it was a direct insult to recognize dictatorship over democracy. Marcos was the 10th and longest-serving president of the Republic of the Philippines with his 20-year term, and was known for his dictatorship ruling that resulted to a staggering amount of more than 9,000 human rights violations. The annual report of the Commission on Audit for 2019 simultaneously called out top government agencies anew. State auditors summoned Armed Forces of the Philippines over poor implementation of its modernization program that amounts billions worth of government funds. In the same report, COA flagged Philippine National Police for the slow procurement release of 1.3 billion budget in 2016 appropriated for vehicles, armory, and other tools.
Bilang bahagi po ng ating transparency sa procurement, hindi po lahat ng procurement ay isinagawa ng PNP, kundi ay humingi ng assistance ng PITC, lalo na doon sa mga big ticket procurement. Masasabi natin talagang malakihan.
The report also revealed that only 23% of the procured equipment has been delivered to the agency. Meanwhile, state auditors recommend refund of the amount paid back to National Treasury if Philippine International Trading Corporation or PITC fails to fast-track the release of the operation assets.
Meron pang undelivered worth 1.03 billion or 76% noong kabuang bilang ng total procurement.
Separately, COA also called out the Office of the Solicitor General under retired military Jose Calida over unliquidated and unsupported 1.6 million travel expenses that violate the COA Circular and Presidential Decree 1445. The Solicitor General, however, is yet to react to the issue. Parents and students aired their grievances on the first weeks of online classes on Twitter with the hashtag #AcademicFreezeNow, which garnered an estimated 38.9 thousand tweets urging the Department of Education and the Commission on Higher Education to postpone school year 2020-2021 last September 3rd, Thursday. In addition, youth group Samahan ng Progresibong Kabataan or SPARC also stressed this call as they launched an online petition on change.org last September 1st. On the other hand, private schools and lawmakers opposed the movement, saying it can lead to further learning loss and education inequality. Senator Win Gatchalian also further noted that instead of calling for a total postponement, use the additional time given to prepare and ensure safe opening of classes. Movie and Television Review Classification Board, or MTRCB, plans to regulate video streaming sites such as Netflix and YouTube following the increase of content consumption in these platforms during the pandemic. However, former MTRCB Chairman Senator Grace Poe slams the idea, saying that it is impractical and it is not in line with the main purpose of the agency, which is to classify and promote self-regulation. House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano also stressed that online streaming sites are not included in MTRCB's jurisdiction stipulated in Presidential Decree 1986, which is just limited to motion picture, television programs, and commercials. MTRCB then clarified that they will just provide them their guidelines for self-regulation, and argued that regulating motion pictures shown in any medium or equipment is stated in the law.
First of all, it's really in the law, no, that any motion picture in any medium or equipment shown should be regulated on whatever medium and with whatever mechanism or equipment they are projected.
Meanwhile, MTRCB says that they had already talked to major video content providers last year and has required working grant to lay out their regulations, which they aim to implement as early as the first quarter of 2021. Until next week, this has been Explained Express, delivering you the most pressing issues straight to your fingertips.